And you're right, I am running to live again at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I want Democrats elected from the local to the county to the state to the federal level. Once again, making the case that when Democrats win, Americans win.
Hillary Clinton in South Carolina yesterday incorporating a Southern drawl into her speech to the South Carolina Democratic Women's Council. Mrs. Clinton's time in South Carolina was shadowed by a Republican presidential candidate, Carly Fiorina. The former CEO of Hewlett-Packard gave reporters outside Mrs. Clinton's event time to answer questions that she says Hillary just won't answer. For more, let's turn to our good friend Michael Reagan, who is Skyping in from Los Angeles. Michael, of course, a noted political commentator. You can follow him on Twitter at Reagan World. That would be at Reagan World with a little @ sign there. And Michael, where are you at on this thing with Carly Fiorina shadowing Hillary Clinton?
Well, the way I like to tell you is this, that I think Carly was in South Carolina to get a little public relations for herself. The reality of it is Hillary doesn't have to answer nothing because there ain't nobody running against her right now. How was that?
That's pretty good. And as a guy who grew up in North Carolina who often reverts to the tongue in my native high point, I will give you passing marks. So you say basically it was just for show.
Yeah, it really was just for show. Carly's trying to get her name out there. The only people that really know her are the people here in the state of California. Remember, she lost against Barbara Boxer a couple of years ago for the Senate of the United States. So she's trying to get known elsewhere. She's getting time on television, and it was a good place for her to be so people would cover her and she would get some publicity to help her campaign as she gets in this race for the presidency of the United States. Hillary, as I said, there's nobody running against Hillary. She doesn't have to answer anything unless somebody gets into the race and or she wins the nomination, and then she gets in the debates.
Well, on the subject of the Republican nomination, Michael, former New York Governor George Pataki announced that he is running today. He made a few hits on Hillary's claim she was broke after leaving the White House. Let's listen to what George had to say and then get your reaction.
All right.
She speaks for the middle class. They are the party of privilege. We are the party of the middle class.
So, George, with a rousing opening, where's he going to go in this thing?
Yeah, I kind of like the line that they left the White House broke and then became 100 millionaires, if you will. How's that for the middle class? You know, George Pataki, 3 times elected governor of the state of New York, a blue state. You need that. But it's a crowded field for him. And he's got to do something that's got to raise him above the fray of the others that are, in fact, in the race. I think it's good to have George Pataki in the race. I think he adds to it. But it's interesting. Already on my Twitter account, I'm hearing people say, well, he's a rhino. We got to get rid of this, just calling everybody within our own party some kind of a name. My goodness gracious, I wonder what they think of my father sometimes. Would he be a rhino because of some of the things that he did as governor or as president of the United States of America? I think it's good to have Pataki in the race.
The overall size of the field, Michael, is it good to have so many people running?
Well, I think the problem with so many people running is the fact that so many are going to be splitting their own votes. I mean, you look at Cruz and you look at, well, Scott Walker gets in, Cruz is already in. You have others that are in the race, Rick Santorum in the race. They're all going to be splitting that same conservative base vote, which is going to allow a Pataki, who has to win in New Hampshire if he's going to go anywhere, or they allow a Jeb Bush from Florida to really gain traction because they're not splitting the vote with anybody, where the conservatives, once again, as they did in 2012, will begin to split their own vote, and that doesn't bode well for conservatives.
Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert has been indicted on corruption charges. The dateline is Chicago. We're just getting this information. It happened on bank-related charges. Obviously, there is more to this story. But as I sit here talking to you, I am absolutely shocked by this indictment.
Oh, so am I. Anybody who knew Denny Hastert, what a wonderful, wonderful human being he was, speaker and what have you. And I imagine you're shocked, as I think all Republicans are shocked those of us who knew Denny Hastert, were around him for so many years, helped him in his runs for re-election, or helped him when he's trying to get something done on the floor of the House of Representatives. I am absolutely shocked by it. And you know that the Democrats are going to use that, against the Republicans in the upcoming elections. And that's really sad. We become the issue instead of like a Hillary and what she's been or not been doing becoming a true issue.
Obviously, this is a story we will be talking more about tomorrow and including this broadcast tomorrow night. For now, Michael Reagan, whom you can follow on Twitter at Reagan World. Sir, you have our thanks.
Thank you.
And there's more to come here on Newsmax Prime. Stay with us.